Ever wonder how the richest characters in animation actually built their fortunes? We're not talking about some vague backstory. We're going over the nitty-gritty details you might have missed. Forget the simple explanations. We're pulling back the curtain on the surprising, and sometimes hilarious, ways that 7 of animation's wealthiest icons really made their money. This isn't just a list of who has the most cash. It's a look at the complex web of inherited fortunes, ruthless business plans, mind-blowing tech, and ridiculously lucky breaks that launched these characters into another stratosphere. From spooky aristocrats to sociopathic CEOs, you're about to find out how these icons really made their billions. Number 7. Gomez Addams. Kicking off our list at number 7 is the patriarch of peculiarity himself, Gomez Addams. While Forbes has never officially ranked him in their top 10, fan estimates and one 2007 article have placed his net worth around a cool $2 billion. Most people assume the Addams fortune is just old money, and they're not entirely wrong. Family lore traces their lineage back to Castilian royalty and British aristocracy, which would certainly explain a massive inheritance. His great-great-great-great-great-grandfather also helped purchase Manhattan Island from the Native Americans and was given Central Park as a thank you. So, Central Park technically belongs to Gomez. But inheritance is only part of the equation. Gomez is an active investigator and is often seen looking at his stocks on the stock ticker, though his strategy is anything but ordinary. He operates on pure chaotic whim, and somehow it always pays off. He famously bought a swamp for its scenic value, only to discover it was sitting on a huge oil deposit. He once purchased a mummified hand that turned out to be the priceless remains of an Egyptian pharaoh. You can't teach that in business school. It's just pure chaotic luck. His business portfolio is just as strange as his hobbies, including owning a crocodile farm, a buzzard farm, a uranium mine, salt mine, a tombstone factory, and many, many more. Though he has a hand in Wall Street, one can only imagine he picks stocks based on which company sounds the most gothic. He barely seems to care about the money itself, viewing it as a tool for his own amusement and for doting on his beloved Mordecai. And that's the hilarious truth of Gomez's wealth. He claims to have scrimped and saved in his youth, yet is horrified when his son Pugsley wants a job, declaring, "No Addams has worked in 300 years." He makes billions through what looks like dumb luck, proving that in the Addams world, the best way to get rich is to be unapologetically weird. Number 6. Carter Pewterschmidt. Crashing into our number 6 spot is the ruthless and obscenely wealthy patriarch from Family Guy, Carter Pewterschmidt. While Forbes did once include him in a fictional wealth list, most estimates are fan speculation, often placing his net worth around $7.2 billion. Carter is the classic cutthroat tycoon, a man who sees the world as his playground and his son-in-law Peter Griffin as a personal punching bag. His fortune comes from Pewterschmidt Industries, a vast company with its hands in everything from steel to media. He once bought the Pawtucket Patriot Brewery just to annoy Peter, immediately suggesting they make the cans out of cheap toxic metal, the metal that prison toilets are made from, just to save a few pennies. The humor of Carter's wealth lies in his absolute lack of a moral compass. This is a man with a rancor pit at the front door of his house just for unwelcome guests. Once marijuana was legalized, he wanted to make it illegal again, not for any moral objection to drug use, simply because its legalization hurt his timber profits. He discovered the cure to cancer but decided not to release it, stating there is far more money in treating a disease than curing it. And this is just scratching the surface of the awful things he's done. What's funny, but also kind of sharp, is how Carter is a perfect takedown of the wealth with no conscience stereotype. He despises Peter, not just for being an idiot, but because Peter represents the simple working-class life Carter finds so repulsive. One time when Peter came to ask Carter for financial help for a friend, not only did Carter tell him that he was fully capable of helping before refusing to, he actually took the $20,000 asked for, blended it up, and drank it in front of them because it amused him. Carter's fortune isn't just for gags. It's a commentary on the moral vacuum that can come with extreme wealth. Number 5. Mom. Carol Miller. At number 5, we have a character who pairs the public image of a sweet grandmother with the ruthlessness of a Bond villain. Mom, the CEO of Mom Corp in Futurama. Forbes once estimated her net worth at a massive $15.7 billion, making her the wealthiest woman of the 31st century. Publicly, she's the face of the mom's-friendly robot company, wearing a padded suit to appear warm and matronly. But once those doors close, she literally removes that matronly suit and becomes a bad-tempered, skinny, chain-smoking predator who rules her empire alongside three dopey sons, Walt, Larry, and Igner. MomCorp is a mega conglomerate that manufactures nearly every robot in the universe. On top of that, she sells the robot parts, upgrades, and accessories. Her path to riches was a masterclass in monopoly. She doesn't just sell robots, she also controls the oil they need, creating a cycle of dependency. Further to this, she deliberately creates dependencies by taking out any competition. At one time, she discovers oil from anchovies could lubricate robots infinitely better than her oil could, putting her completely out of business if anyone found out. Anchovies have been long extinct, but she finds one can, the last in existence, up for sale at an antique auction. When she's outbid by Fry, she then sets up an elaborate scheme to rob him. For a time, Mom even held a monopoly on dark matter, the fuel for every spaceship in the galaxy. Ultimately, this monopoly was destroyed when Professor Farnsworth accidentally created the anti-backwards crystal that rendered all dark matter useless. Mom's methods are far from friendly. She's attempted a global robot rebellion all because she was in a bad mood over Mother's Day, the day 70 years earlier that Professor Farnsworth walked out on her. When seeing a business partner mysteriously die on stage in front of her, her response was to yell for someone to pry out his fillings before feeding him to jackals. Cold. She is repeatedly seen to be sweet on camera, followed by just awful behind closed doors. She's a brilliant parody of every giant corporation that pretends to be your friend while trying to leech every dollar from you when you aren't looking. Number 4. Mr. Burns. Tapping his fingers with a sinister "excellent," our number 4 is the undisputed king of corporate villainy, Charles Montgomery Burns. As the ancient owner of the Springfield nuclear power plant, Mr. Burns' wealth has fluctuated wildly in various Forbes fictional 15 lists, from just under $1 billion to as high as $16.8 billion. The foundation of his fortune is the power plant, which he runs with a level of negligence that is both hilarious and terrifying. In one episode, safety inspectors found 342 code violations, including a dangerously high Geiger counter score before even entering the plant, using gum to seal a crack in a cooling tower, using a plutonium rod as a paperweight, a green acidic substance dripping from the roof, and much more. The total violations were going to cost approximately $56 million to fix. Mr. Burns does not want to spend. It's a complete monopoly, allowing it to churn out profits despite glowing rats, two-headed dogs, and three-eyed fish. But that's not his only venture. Mr. Burns also owns the rights to the song White Christmas, which he says he bought after missing out on buying Picasso's Guernica. Although his earnings from the song are never explicitly stated, it is mentioned that it's in the billions. But Mr. Burns' original wealth came from an inheritance from his grandfather after a suspicious number of mishaps killed all his other siblings, with several of them dying by eating poisoned potatoes. The comedy of Mr. Burns is legendary. He's a guy who's so weak he couldn't lift a feather but could crush a city's economy without breaking a sweat. He can't remember Homer Simpson's name after decades, repeatedly asking Smithers, "Who was that man, Smithers?" And yet he knows every loophole in business and corrupt politician. His schemes are as grand as they are evil, from buying a disc to block out the sun, forcing everyone to pay more for his energy supply, to trying to make a suit out of the skins of puppies. He is the ultimate caricature of the greedy corporate boss, throwing money at people to do obscene and often self-deprecating things. A man so rich, he operates in his own reality where everyone and everything has a price. We're getting close to the big ones now, the top 3 richest cartoon characters of all time. Who do you think will take the crown? Could it be a money-hungry tycoon, a secret billionaire, or someone hiding their fortune in plain sight? Hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed, and keep watching to find out. Number 3. Bruce Wayne. At number 3, we head to the shadows of Gotham to find its silent guardian, Bruce Wayne. To the public, he's a billionaire playboy. But that's the perfect cover for one of the most carefully managed fortunes in fiction. Recent estimates suggest his net worth is around $39.9 billion, though some comic storylines have placed it much higher. Bruce Wayne inherited his fortune. The Wayne family fortune grew over centuries into the massive conglomerate Wayne Enterprises, with ancestors starting as pelt and skin merchants and building the empire into so much more. Bruce is largely hands-off in his company and delegates the day-to-day operations to his CEO, Lucius Fox. This frees him up to maintain his public persona as a carefree bachelor and, more importantly, spend his nights as Batman. Wayne Enterprises is a beast, with major holdings in tech, defense, shipping, and healthcare. That corporate machine is so profitable it can easily absorb the astronomical costs of being Batman without anyone noticing. And think about those costs. The Batmobile, the Batwing, and the Batcave supercomputer are a fortune in themselves. In a way, these are R&D for Wayne Enterprises' Applied Sciences division, which Fox cleverly develops for military and civilian contracts. The absurdity of his double life is almost comedic. He'll wreck a high-end Lamborghini just to create a distraction. He uses his company's most advanced, top-secret military prototypes, such as robot technologies, for his nightly patrols. Even when the Joker managed to steal his entire fortune by tricking Catwoman into transferring his entire bank account solely to him, he was still a multimillionaire. Bruce Wayne's fortune isn't just money. It's a weapon he uses to fight crime on the streets and, through his foundation, to try and heal Gotham from within. Number 2. Tony Stark. Swinging into our number 2 spot is the genius billionaire playboy philanthropist, Tony Stark. When it comes to superhero wealth, Tony's fortune is legendary, with 2024 estimates putting his net worth around $43.4 billion, though some comics have suggested it's much higher. Like Bruce Wayne, Stark inherited his fortune, but didn't just sit on his inheritance. He took his father, Howard Stark's company, and supercharged it. At first, the money came from a morally gray source: weapons. Stark Industries was the world's top defense contractor, and those government contracts were the bedrock of his empire. He lived the life you'd expect: huge parties, a fleet of sports cars, and a Malibu mansion that was basically a monument to his own ego. But the real story of Tony's wealth is one of reinvention. After his life-altering experience in that cave and realizing his weapons were falling into the wrong hands, Tony famously announced Stark Industries was out of the weapons business. For any other company, that would be a death sentence. For Tony, it was just the beginning. He pivoted the entire company toward clean energy, using the arc reactor, a fusion reactor, and the very thing keeping him alive, as a blueprint to power the world. Beyond energy, Stark Industries became a leader in aerospace, robotics, and AI. His patents for systems like Jarvis and the upgraded version Friday, not to mention the nanotech in his suits, would be worth trillions. He essentially privatized world defense, funding the entire Avengers initiative from his own pocket. Tony's genius wasn't just building suits. It was his incredible ability to turn innovation into gold, transforming a company of death into a beacon of progress and getting even richer doing it. And number 1, Scrooge McDuck. And now for the moment you've been waiting for. Diving into the number 1 spot is the undisputed champion of animated wealth, Scrooge McDuck. Forbes has made several estimates of his fortune, with the highest reaching a colossal $65.4 billion, often placing him at the top of their fictional 15 list. Unlike most on this list, Scrooge is the ultimate self-made duck. He started as a poor shoeshine boy in Scotland, where he earned his cherished number 1 dime that he keeps on display on a plush pillow. That dime became his motivation for being smarter than the smarties and tougher than the toughies, one of Scrooge's life mottos. He earned every cent through grit and business sense. His big break came during the Klondike Gold Rush in Agony Creek, where he was a gold prospector and found a gold nugget the size of a goose egg. But that was just the start. From there, he became an adventure capitalist, traveling the world to build his empire, investing in diamonds, mines, and oil fields. His most famous asset is, of course, the money bin, a gigantic building holding 3 cubic acres of cash that he famously loves to swim in. The comedy of Scrooge is in his legendary cheapness, so cheap in fact that his name became synonymous with the word cheap. He'll fight a bear over a jar of honey and never gives to charity. But his love for money is about the memories attached to every coin, and the Forbes estimate might be low. One comic story calculated that if he lost $1 billion a minute, he wouldn't go broke for 600 years, pushing his theoretical net worth into the quadrillions. Whether it's billions or quadrillions, one thing is certain: Scrooge's empire was built on a lifetime of smart and lucky investments. So there you go, the real stories behind some of animation's biggest bank accounts. But I have to ask, who did we miss? Is there a cartoon tycoon you think could give Scrooge a run for his money? Let us know your pick in the comments below. We actually read them, and your suggestion might just end up in a future video. From Gomez's creepy mansion to Scrooge's money bin, it's clear that inheritance, innovation, and sheer willpower can build empires. Each of these characters proves that behind every great fortune, there's an even greater story, whether it's one of heroism, villainy, or just plain weirdness. If you had fun digging into these fictional fortunes, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.